Oh,
I'm start the recording.
sure. Okay, well, we're going to start. I'm sure she's going to come back on. Okay, welcome, Karen, and we're super excited. So, way you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me again. Just before we start, if anything happens like last time where I pop off for a second, don't worry. Just continue with whatever activity we're working on, and I'll be right back in a moment. But I am not sharing my screen today, and that only happened when I was sharing my screen. So I think we should be okay. But just in case, really looking forward to working with all of you today. We're going to have lots and lots of fun. So same as last time, make sure you have a space where you can move around. Also do make sure that you have something that you can write with. I know last time we did a little bit of writing at the end and captured your story. We're going to do a little bit of more work with those characters today, and I'm going to ask you some questions. So I will need you to just write a few things down. So if you can make sure you have that, that would be awesome. And after you're all nicely warmed up from your activation this morning, we're just going to start with remembering our posture, which we talked about the last day. So I taught you the vertebrae curl, which is just a really great check-in that you can do anytime when you feel like your posture might be a little bit off. So we're going to start with that. So you're going to reach up to the sky. So everyone needs to be standing and reaching up to the sky. Get a really, really nice stretch. And remember, you're just going to let yourself flop over. Okay? Give yourself a nice big hug as you're flopped over. Nice big hug. Take a deep breath in. Feel the back of your rib cage expand and let the breath out. Another deep breath in and let the breath out. And then let your arms flop like they're spaghetti. Nice and noodly. Give them a shake around and slowly roll yourself up, one vertebrae at a time. Nice and slow. Clicking into place as you come up. Make sure that your shoulders are down. Make sure your head's up. Imagine you have an imaginary golden string pulling your head up to the ceiling. So you have a really nice posture, shoulders down, long neck, and you're standing here. And this is our neutral pose. So whenever we're doing different character activities, and I ask you to get into a neutral pose, you just want to find this and always check in and make sure you're standing here ready to go so we can take on character. Okay, so hand on your diaphragm. So belly button, 3 fingers down. Make a fist, and you're going to take that nice breath in, and you're going to push your fist away from your body as you're breathing in so that you're really filling down here into your lower lung capacity. So here we go. Deep breath in, and let the breath out. Okay? We don't want to see our shoulders going up and down at all as we're breathing in, because we really want to have a nice full breath. So breathe in, and let the breath out. And then again, my test.
Okay, so
No air left. So here we go. Deep breath in, and drop your arm when you can't hold your breath any longer. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, and keep the arm up in the air. Keep breathing out. Keep breathing out. And when you can no longer hold your breath any longer, you're going to let your arm drop down. Good job. Very good. Keep going until you're all done. And again, this is a great activity that you can just do every day and really push yourself to hold your breath longer and longer as you're doing it. Okay, we're going to start moving around the room. And when we're creating character, depending on where our center of gravity is, that's going to significantly change the character that we're creating. So we're just going to practice walking around the room and changing our center of gravity. So we're going to start with our knees. So we're going to lead with our knees. So you're going to try walking around the room, leading with your knees. So your knee is going to be the first thing. So just explore what that does to your body. So you want to start walking around your room, leading with your knees. Okay, so your knees go first. Okay, so when you're that character and you're walking around the room leading with your knees, think about what type of character you could be. Okay, that posture changes when you're leading with your knees. Okay, so walking around the room, leading with your knees. Now, if we change our center of gravity to be our chest, and we walk around the room leading with our chest, what happens? Okay, we're a very different character when we're leading with our chest. So try that, walking around the room, leading with your chest. Okay, now take it one step further. Walk around the room leading with your nose. Okay, so if you're leading with your nose, what happens to the character that you're creating? Okay, think about it. Think about what happens to your body. Think about what happens to your steps. Exaggerate it a little bit more. If you're leading with your nose, what type of a character could you be? Okay, think about that. Now, I want you to try leading with your toes. So you can point your toe, and you're gonna walk around the room leading with your toes. Leading with your toes, walking around the room, and as you're taking those steps, leading with your toes, again, in your mind, think about what type of a character could you be, okay? Now try leading with your hips. So if you're gonna lead with your hips, you might walk sideways, or you might go from hip to hip. And what type of a character could you be if you're leading with your hips? Keep walking around the room, practicing it, practicing that feeling. I'm gonna call them out, and I want you to switch from different types of body parts. So here we go, leading with your knees, go. Walking around the room, leading with your knees. Knees, really get into it, really over-exaggerate it, put those knees first. Walking with your chest, going from your chest, really exaggerate it, put your chest forward. Walking with your nose, leading by your nose, really over-exaggerate it, leading by your nose. Moving with your hips first, leading with your hips, what happens? Experiment with speed and tempo. Moving with your hips and your toes. Now leading with your toes, move around the room, leading with your toes. Okay, great, shake it out. Come back to neutral. So that's just one small building block that when you're creating character, you can think about is what body part leads you and how does that change your character. We're gonna go through lots of different little activities that create different building blocks to character today, and then we're gonna bring it all together at the end. So the second thing we're gonna do is just another little fun activity. I'm gonna give you some situations, and I want you to act out those situations. So here's our first one, it's super fun. You wanna imagine that you're brushing your teeth. So you're brushing your teeth. I wanna see everybody at their mirror, and you're brushing your teeth. Everyone's brushing their teeth. At your mirror, you're brushing your teeth. And you're excited because it's gonna be a great day today. So you're brushing your teeth. All of a sudden, as you're brushing your teeth, your toothbrush has a mind of its own. So what happens? Your toothbrush starts taking over, and you gotta fight that toothbrush. So let me see you. Fight that toothbrush, it's taking over. It's doing something really crazy. Be creative, move around your room. You're fighting that toothbrush. You can't get it to stop, and it just has a mind of its own, and it's taking you wherever it wants to go. You're fighting that toothbrush. Oh my goodness, it's getting out of control. It's pulling you all around the room. It's going faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster, and then whoa, it runs out of batteries. Whew, that was close. Okay, good. Shake it off. Shake it off. We're gonna try another one. Next one, you're going for a walk. You're taking your dog for a walk. So I want to see everybody with their dog. You got your leash. You're taking your dog for a walk. It's nice and early in the morning, and you're walking, and all of a sudden you realize your dog weighs about 400 pounds, and your dog decides that it's sitting down, and you can't get that dog to move. Let me see what you're going to do to try to get that dog to move. You're trying really hard. Really hard. It's not going. Okay, you got to try something else. Now you know your dog's in the middle of the road and there's a big transport truck coming and you got to get that dog to move. Okay, so let's see what's happening to you, what's happening to your body, what's happening to your facial expressions. You're trying to get that dog to move. You're worried because the truck is coming. You're trying really hard, and all of a sudden your dog sees a squirrel and takes off down the road. Let's see what happens to your body. Let's see what happens. Remember, that dog weighs 400 pounds. Let's see what happens to your body. Whew, good. Your dog is happy and home and safe. We're all good. Whew, that was another crazy situation. Shake it off. Shake it off. Okay. The next one is that you are carrying a very large box. So I want to see you carrying a very large box. Okay, it's very big. It's not too heavy, but it's very big. And you have now got to get this box into your bedroom. But you just realize that the bedroom door is a little bit too small. So you're trying really hard to get that box into your bedroom. So try and fit it into your bedroom door. You're trying. It's really big. You're going to try up high. You're going to try down low. And you just keep trying, but it's really, really big. So let's see what you're going to do. Let's see what you're going to do. Try to get that box into your bedroom door. There you go. There you go. What are you going to do? What's the result? Some people might choose to just open the box and take everything out. Maybe you're going to have to take everything out one at a time and put it into your bedroom. But you realize that the box is so full. You got to get all this stuff into your bedroom. All this stuff into your bedroom. Hurry, hurry, hurry. There's fast. You got to go fast. You got to get everything out of the box. You got to get it into your bedroom. That's it. Everything in the box, into your bedroom. Very good. Very good. Okay, awesome. So everybody, we're going to shake that off. Shake that off. Very good. Excellent. Okay, so those were just some fun character situations, which was great. I really saw a lot of people getting physical with it. I see a lot of people putting lots of great facial expressions in, and that's what we need to think about when we're creating character. Always our physicality, our facial expressions, and our gestures. So now we're going to do another activity that's about emotional gestures, right? So the last time we were working with how emotions can help us communicate what our character is thinking and feeling. And a lot of that can be communicated in our body, but it can also be communicated in our facial expressions. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a prompt, and we're going to say, I feel, and you're going to express the emotion that you're feeling through an action and a facial expression. So I'll give you an example. The first prompt is, I won the lottery, okay? So if we were doing this together, we might say, I feel, but you're not going to say how you feel. You feel excited, right? You're super excited about it. So what you would say, we would say is, I feel, and you might be really excited, okay? You're not going to say the word excitement, but you're going to show it in your actions and in your facial expressions, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you the prompt. So I would say, won the lottery. Then I'm going to say, think about how you're feeling, come up with a gesture and a facial expression. And in a moment, when I say, I feel, you're going to show us the gesture and the facial expression, okay? So here we go. The first prompt is that you have lost your favorite toy, okay? Think about how that makes you feel. And then I want you to think about how your face is going to show that and what gesture you're going to do in a moment, okay? So I'm going to say, I feel, and then you're going to show the facial expression and the gesture. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I feel. Good. And you can keep repeating if it's a gesture that's a repetitive movement. I love that I'm seeing some of you have a repetitive movement that's showing how you're feeling. Some of you, you might just want to hold it in close and show the facial expression. That's fantastic. Okay, next one. So you're getting into a fight with either your siblings or your parents, okay? So think about how you feel and think about how you're going to express that in your face and in a gesture of some sort. Here we go. I feel. Okay, so you're expressing it. Keep going, keep going. Can you make it bigger? Can you make it bigger? Really think about your facial expression. Think about what's happening to your body. Fantastic. Shake it out. Shake it out. Go into neutral. Very good. Okay. You are locked in an unfinished basement with no lights and no windows. How do you feel? Think about how you're feeling. Think about how you're expressing that through a gesture. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I feel. Keep going. Keep going. Make it a little bigger. Imagine that there was an audience. Make it a little bigger. Push yourself to take a little bit more risk. That's great. All right, and shake it off. Going back into neutral, shake it off. Next one. You just got a brand new puppy. So think about how you feel. Think about your facial expressions and the gestures you're gonna do. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I feel. Think about what you're doing. Make it bigger. Can you make it bigger? Can you really show us how you're feeling, how you're expressing that through movement? Awesome. Okay, next one. You ordered pizza from your favorite pizza restaurant, and when it came, you noticed it had broccoli and blue cheese on the pizza. How are you feeling about that? Facial expression, gesture. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I feel. You're looking at it. How do you feel? Express it. Make it a little bit bigger. Great. Okay, shake it off. All right, next one. You have to move to the other side of the world and you have to say goodbye to your best friend. Think about how you're feeling. Think about the emotion that's coming out. And think about how you're going to express that in 3, 2, 1. I feel. Okay, think about it. What are you doing? Come up with a gesture. That's great. Okay, shake it off. Thank you so much. That was fun. That was lots and lots of fun. Okay, what I need you to do right now is take a drink of water and get something to write with. And if you could just have a seat with something to write with, something to write on, and a drink of water, that would be great. Okay, so that was basically our character warm-up. We talked about our physicality in terms of our body and how we move around the room and how different choices around center of gravity can impact the character you're creating. And that would come on in your routines, in your choreography, depending what your choreography movements your coach chooses. Sometimes your center of gravity may be a little different. It may change your character in the water. But also we talked about emotions and how our emotions can tell a story. They can tell us what's going on with the character, and we can express those through gesture and through facial expression. So we're gonna actually do some work on creating a character today. And I want you to think back to our last session. And in our last session, we listened to a piece of music, and all of you had a chance to think about what was the story behind the music and the character that you were creating. You came up with some actions that you believe told your story. And then at the end of our session, we actually wrote down our story, and your homework was that you should go and you should share it with someone in your family, your friend, whoever you wanted to share it with, but that you should tell your story to someone. So hopefully you had a chance to do that. So today what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna go a little bit deeper. And if you remember that character and that story that you told, hopefully we can continue building upon that and working on that character. If you don't have that, you can create a new character for today, and that's okay too. But since I remember you all writing your stories down, hopefully you can work with the character that you had. So what I need you to do right now is I need you to really think about who that character was. And I'm gonna ask you a bunch of questions, and I need you to actually answer them on your paper. There is no wrong answer. So you get to create this character. It can be anyone you want. But it's important that when you're creating character that you think about who the character is and where they come from, because that's just gonna give you a better understanding of them and help you to really be able to express them in the water. So the first thing is, no matter what you're doing, you should always give your character a name. A name is really important. So I want you to come up with a name for your character. Because when you name someone, that gives them an identity. And for you to express a character in the water, if you don't know who they are, you're only gonna go halfway to creating that fullness of performance because you don't actually know who they are, right? So let's give them a name that gives them an identity, and a name can tell you a lot about a person. So that's the first thing I want you to do, is I want you to give them a name. So if you could write that down on your paper. The second thing I want you to be thinking about is how old are they? Because this is also really important, because depending on how old your character is, that's really going to change them significantly. So if you're playing someone who's 5 years old, your character energy is going to be very different than someone who's 80. And your center of gravity and the choices you make around the posture you're taking is going to be very different. So I want you to give your character an age. It can be any age you want. That's going to help to tell your story. And after you've given them a name and an age, I want you to describe them. It can be in point form, just some descriptors, some physical characteristics. So what do they look like? If you saw that character on the street, what do they actually look like? You can describe their hair, you can describe their face, you can describe what their body looks like, you can describe their clothing that they're wearing, you can describe how they move. Are they someone who moves very slowly through life? Are they someone who's really busy all the time, energetic? So if you could just write down some point form words that describe your character. So after you've done that, I want you to think about, where do they come from? So where do they live? That also has a huge impact on who your character is, right? So are they, you know, a teenager and they're living at home with their parents? Or do they come from a single family? Are they, you know, living in the city? Are they living in the country? Depending on where they live and what their actual living situation is going to significantly impact them and what they want. And we're going to talk about what they want in a moment. So write a few point form notes about where your character lives. And as you're thinking about where they live, think about, who are the people that surround them? So are they completely alone? Are they an elderly person living in a retirement community? Are they a young child and they have lots and lots of siblings? Are they an only child? Think about who's around them, because again, that's going to impact what's going on with them emotionally. And when we're creating character, we really have to understand how our character's feeling emotionally. And what do they do? So are they a student? And if they're a student, what type of student are they? What hurdles are they faced with on a daily basis? Are they an adult and they're working? If they're working, what's their occupation? So whatever choices you're making, what do they do? And the last one that I want you to write down right now is, what do they want? And this is the most important decision that you're going to make, because it's going to impact significantly how you're going to play that character. Because every character wants something. So if you were playing me right now, I might be thirsty. I want to drink water. I'm really thirsty. I just really want my water. And I might do anything to get that water, right? That's just one example. But what does your character really want? Think back to the song. Think back to the story that you told. What was that character trying to do in the course of that story? What do they want to get? What do they want to achieve? When we're playing character, we're often playing through characters' intentions. And intentions are something that you want to have happen. And often the choices you make and the steps you take to get there are all about achieving whatever it is that you want. So that one's really important. Now we could go a lot more in depth with this. This is just an example for today's course, but there are tons and tons of character questionnaires that you can find online. The theater practitioner Uta Hagen, Utahagen. She's fantastic. She came up with something called the 9 questions in creating character. And what basically it is much more in-depth questions than I've asked you today. So when you're looking at your routine and you're thinking about your character that you're going to express in the water, you might want to look up some of those character questionnaires just to go a little bit more in depth than I've done with you today. But definitely doing this kind of work will help you be more effective when it comes to performance. So what we're going to do today is we're going to actually become that character. So I want you to look at everything that you've written down on your paper, because you are going to physically become that character. So whatever choices you've made about their age, you need to think about now, where's your center of gravity going to be when you're playing that character? Okay, so if you've chosen someone who's younger, then they're going to have a much more animated energy, and they're going to have a different center of gravity than someone who's older. So think about the opening activity we did where we were walking around the room and we were choosing different body parts to lead our actions. As you become the character, you may want to do that. Think about the description you've given yourself of your character, and think about how are you going to physically create that using your gestures and your expressions. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to think of something that your character's doing. A job that they're doing that has to be completed. Something that has a beginning, middle, and ending. So it could be something as simple as your character's a teenager, they're in their room, their parents have told them they're not allowed out till they clean their room, and they're picking up all the clothing that's lying around in their room, and they're folding it, and their mom keeps coming and knocking on the door and saying, "Are you done yet? Are you done yet?" And the character's like, "Yeah, I'm almost done." And they really want to get that done because they really want to go out and see their friends. So their intention, I want to go see my friends. The job they know they need to do to get there is cleaning their room, and there's a certain sense of anxiety because their parent keeps coming to check on them. So you can pick any job that you want. It could be something very simple. It could be something more detailed. But right now I want you to think of your character, think of what they want, and think of a job that they're doing that they have to complete. Beginning, middle, and ending. So think about that for a moment. The job that they're doing does need to have some sort of repetitive nature to it, right? So if I'm cleaning the clothes in my room, I'm repetitively running around grabbing different things and trying to put them away. Okay, so in your own space, what I'm going to ask you to do right now is just get up and start exploring doing that activity. That's all you're going to do, just that one activity. So if it's folding the laundry, if it's putting away your clothes, whatever it is, let's just start in our own space doing the activity. Here we go, starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you're doing your activity. You're doing your activity in your room. Keep doing it, and it should be something that you can repetitively do. So you're just going to keep doing that activity. So what I want to challenge you with now, as you're doing that activity, is can you make it a little bit bigger? Can you make it a little bit bigger because you have an audience right now? So how do you make it a little bit more dramatic? It should still be repetitive, but how do you make it more dramatic, using more of your body, using more of your space? Here we go, 3, 2, 1, action. Think about your age of your character, your speed of your character, their facial expressions as you're doing that activity. Okay, so I want you to layer, we're going to practice, now you've got your activity, we're going to practice layering on emotions. So at first I want you to experiment. If your character was very happy while they were doing the activity, what would the activity look like? So here we go. They're very happy doing the activity. 3, 2, 1, go. Very happy. What does it look like? How does the activity change? And remember, can you make it bigger? Okay, and shake it out. Shake it out for a minute. Very good. Now let's add another emotion. Okay, if your character was feeling very sad during their activity, what would their activity look like? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Now, even though you're feeling sad, we're going to pause for a moment. Sometimes what happens to people when they're expressing more of a sad emotion is that they let their energy drop. And one of the most important things to think about is that even though you're expressing something that maybe is a little bit more calm and a little bit more sad, you still want to keep, I like to call it the tension in your fingertips. So you still want that expression of activity to be dynamic. So I want you to go back and we're going to do sad again, because I really want to feel that sad energy in your gestures and in your facial expressions. But I want you to make sure that you still have lots of energy flowing through your body. I want to make sure that you're still taking up lots of space so that your audience can see that expression of emotion. Okay, so here we go to sadness again. 3, 2, 1, go. Can you make it bigger so that we can really see the sadness that you're feeling, but still take up lots of space in your room and still really show us in your facial expressions? Good. Okay, so shake it out. So now we're gonna try scared. So you're feeling really scared. You gotta get your activity done. You're scared. Maybe you're afraid that someone's gonna find out that you're doing your activity, or maybe you're afraid that somebody's gonna come and you're not finished your activity yet. So let's see your activity. Again, trying to stay larger than life, trying to stay dynamic with tension in our fingertips, but you're really, really scared. Here we go. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. What happens to your character? What happens to your activity? You're really scared. You're really worried about something. What happens to your activity? Show me in your face, show me in your gestures, show me in your posture and your expressions. Keep going, keep going. And pause. So you're scared. We're going to tweak it now. We're going to tweak it into feeling a little nervous, because not only are you scared, but whatever you're afraid of, you're now nervous about it too. Okay, so add in a little nervousness. Right, here we go. Starting in 3, 2, 1, action, go. And make it big. You're scared, but now you're also nervous because it's not going away. Whatever it is, getting a little nervous. You're still doing your action. You're still doing your activity. You're still repeating your gestures. Don't forget about your facial expressions and what it's communicating to your audience. Okay, shake it out. Shake it out. This time, you're going to do your action, and you're very, very angry. You're really upset, and you're taking that anger and you're taking that frustration out on whatever that activity it is that you're doing. So you're really, really going to use that anger and that frustration in the activity that you're doing. Here we go. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Showing me the frustration, showing me the anger, and go bigger, okay, with your gestures. Really take it out on that activity that you're doing. Give it all of your energy, all of your expression. You should be throwing your whole body into this anger and this frustration. You should see all of your body working, all of your muscles are tense with the frustration, tense with the anger. It's very dynamic movement. It's getting more rapid. You're speeding up because the frustration is flowing through your body. You've got that adrenaline. That's it. That's it. Really take it out on everything. Good. Deep breath. Shake it out. Okay. Last emotion we're going to work with today is excitement. So this last time through this, at this point, you're really excited. You just can't wait for something. So let's see your excitement as you're doing the activity. Here we go, starting in 3, 2, 1. Lots of excitement doing the activity. You're really excited. This is great. It's going to be the best day ever. You still got to get this thing done, but you're just so excited. This is just awesome. So keep going, showing that excitement. That's it. Make it big, right? Remember, make it big. Your audience needs to see it. Make it nice and big. Flow that excitement through your entire body the way that you did with your anger, right? Flow it through your whole body. Really push it. Okay, and everybody shake it off and come on over and get a drink of water. Come on over, get a drink of water. It's really great to see your characters emerging. And what I really like that I see happening is that all of you, when I ask you to just push the limit a little bit, you're really pushing it, right? You've always got to think about that. You've always got to give that 110% so that your audience can clearly see what it is you're communicating, and that's great. We're going to keep working with this character, and we're going to keep working with this action they need to complete. And we're going to add in, I'm going to add in some other prompts, okay? And we're going to think about your character in a little bit of a different way. What I want you to do right now, though, is I want you to think about, and you can write this down on your paper, what happened to your character before you started this activity, and what happens to your character after. So it's the same as if you were telling a story in your routine. You're not just telling the story that's in your routine, you're telling us what happened to that character before, who they are, and you're giving us hope or even closure around what's going to happen to your character after. So for this activity, this performance that we're doing today in this character, it's a simple activity that you're completing, but what happened to your character before? So in my example, when I was saying that, you know, the character really wanted to go and see her friends and she was having to clean her room, well, what happened before was probably that she got in a fight with her mom, wanted to go out and see her friends, but her mom said, no, not until you cleaned your room. So what happened before my activity of cleaning my room is that I had a fight with my mom. What's going to happen after? Well, that's my decision. Does my character finish cleaning her room and get to go with her friends? Or does my character maybe not even complete the job and ends up having to stay in her room all day? So there's always many possibilities of what's going to happen before your activity or what's going to happen after. I want you to make that decision for yourself right now. And it could be anything you want. So what happened before, what's going to happen after? Write it down quickly. So once you've thought about that, what I want you to think about is, so we're going to do this activity as a performance. And we need a beginning. The activities are middle, and we're going to need an ending. So I want you to come up with a beginning for your performance. Beginning could be as simple as you've just had the fight with your mom, you're walking into your room, and you're sitting down on your chair, and you're frustrated, you've got your head in your hands, and then all of a sudden you realize you got to get this activity done, and you start the activity. An ending could be that after you've completed the activity, you walk around your room and you look at everything and you think, hey, my room looks really good, clean. I should really keep it this way. And you just sit down on your bed and you're happy and you just lay back in a superstar position because you're so excited that the job's done. Whatever you want, I want you though to think about a beginning and an ending. And we're going to perform the beginning and the ending in a moment. So think about what you're going to do for your beginning and your ending.
I really like that. Oh, why am I echoing like that?
You're not echoing on my end.
No, I really like that though, because we don't often think about enough about getting into the character, like setting the tone and the what happens after, right? But that's what's going to put the details on the performance, right? So
and even what happened before can really impact your take on the character, and kind of the emotions that they're experiencing in the routine can be significantly impacted by whatever the event was that happened before.
Yeah.
But the audience doesn't see that. But you as the actor, if you know that, is just going to make your performance more dynamic.
Yeah, I really like that.
Okay, so hopefully everyone's had a chance to write down their beginning and their ending. So if we could just get up in our own space, we're not at our activity yet, but if you could just explore in your own space the beginning. So whatever it is that's happening to your character before they get into their activity, if you could just get up right now, I'm going to count you down, and you're going to explore in your space the beginning of your performance. So here we go, starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, action. Okay, great. So we're going to do it again. This time, you're going to do your beginning, and we're going to go into the activity. So we have beginning, activity. We're not going to end it yet, just beginning into activity. And just keep repeating the activity until I tell you to stop. So here we go from the very beginning, starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. Okay, and everyone can pause for a moment. So let's think about our ending before we add the activity. Can everyone just think about their ending? And in your own space, can you explore the ending of your piece? So here we go. We're going to explore the ending of our piece. Just the ending. We don't need the activity at this point. Just the ending. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Great. Okay. So we're going to work a little bit more with the middle piece now. So it looks like most people have a very clear beginning and a very clear ending. It seems like you have a great understanding of where your character is coming from and where they're going. So we're going to work with a couple of situations with your activity so that you can think about kind of the intention and the emotion and the expression that you want to put on the middle. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back into doing our activity, not the beginning and the ending, but just back into the activity. And I'm going to give you a couple of prompts, and I want to see what happens to your character when we layer on some of these prompts, okay? So if everybody could just get up and start doing their activity repetitively, whatever it is that you need to get done. Here we go. We're going to start our activity in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. You're starting your activity. You're repeating your activity. So what I want you to think about is right now, you have, and you're still doing your activity, you have all day long to get this activity done. So there's no sense of urgency. So I want you to show me what happens to your character when there's no sense of urgency. So you have all day to get this activity done. Here we go. Think about facial expressions. Think about gestures. Starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Don't forget about keeping energy up, even though you may be slowing down some of your expressions or slowing down some of your gestures. So remember, always tensioning your fingertips. Keep going with that activity, showing me what happens to your character when there's no sense of urgency to get the activity done. Okay, next prompt. You are hiding your activity from somebody. Okay, you don't want somebody to see what the activity is that you're doing, but you still got to get the activity done. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. You're hiding the activity from somebody. Really, really show that. Really communicate that to your audience that you're hiding it, but you can't stop doing the activity, and you got to get the activity done. So you got to find a way to do the activity even though the person's in the room with you. So you keep going, really play with that for a moment. And what does it do to you physically? And how does it change your expressions, your gestures? How does it change what you're doing? Keep going. Okay, shake it out. Just go back to doing your activity normally. Back to doing your activity normally. So keep doing it. You're doing your activity. Your character only has 1 minute left to complete their activity. Show me what happens to your character. You're worried you're not going to get it done. You've only got 1 minute left to complete your activity. Here we go. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. What happens to your character physically? What happens to them? They got to get it finished. Keep going. Keep going. Show us what happens physically to your character. Show us what happens to their facial expressions. Don't forget about your facial expressions. Think about your center of gravity. Think about your physicality. Now you only got 30 seconds left. You got to get it done. You got to finish it. 30 seconds left. 10, 9, you got to finish it. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you didn't get it done on time. What happens to your character? You didn't get it done. Show me that. Play with that. You didn't get it done. What happens to your body? What happens to your facial expressions? What happens to your gestures? Can your audience still see your gestures and your facial expressions? Are they still taking up space in the room? Are they still dynamic? How are you feeling? Show us how you're feeling. But guess what? Someone just came and gave you an extension. What happens to your character? You got an extension. You got more time to get your activity done. What happens to your character? Show us. Show us what happens to your character. How are they reacting? What are they going to do? They've got an extension. This is fantastic. Show us in your body. Show us in your expressions. This is really great. Show us in your facial expressions. You got to get back to it. You got to get back to that activity. Now get back to the activity because you got an extension, but you don't have too much time. So let's go back to that activity. Let's see what's happening. Let's see what's happening. And now when you're ready, I want your character in their own time to finish their activity and go into your ending. Finish the activity and go into your ending. Okay, and everybody have a seat for a moment. Okay, so what we did was we took your story, we came up with a character from your story, you decided on an action that your character had to complete, but you also came up with a beginning and an ending for your character. But then what we just did was we layered on emotions. So we practiced doing your activity with different emotions. If your character was feeling happy, if they were sad or scared or nervous or angry or excited. But then we also layered on different situations that your character could be experiencing, right? So if they were, if they had a lot of time, so maybe they were a little bit more lazy about the activity. If they had to hide the activity from someone, so they're being a little bit more secretive. If they had a rapid deadline, so all of a sudden they needed to have rapid speed of movement to be able to complete the activity. If they didn't get it done on time, what that did to them sort of emotionally, how that impacted them. And then the excitement that came with knowing that they had more time to get it done. So by layering on different situations to our story and by adding on emotions, all of a sudden we have a very dynamic performance that's interesting for our audience to watch, that has a lot of depth to it. So we're going to do one final performance of your piece. I want you to choose, you can write this down right now, what you want to layer onto your performance, because you don't have to have all of them. So pick an emotion that you're layering on, and it could be several emotions that happen throughout the performance. So I want you to write that down, pick those emotions, but also pick a circumstance, right? So we played through some of those circumstances, whether your character was, had no time or had to do it very rapidly, or whether they were hiding it from someone. So pick a situation that as your character is doing the activity arises, and your character kind of has to overcome that. It's like an obstacle or a hurdle that your character has to overcome. So when we do our final performance, and this will be the last time we do it today, you're going to need your beginning, you're going to need your middle, which has those dynamic emotions and the circumstances that are happening, and then we're going to need a solid ending so that our audience knows the performance is over. And your beginning and your ending are just as important as your middle. I always say you got to start strong, finish strong, because sometimes that last moment of the performance is what your audience is left with. And that is so important. That's what they're going to take away with them. They will obviously love all those impactful moments that you've put throughout. But remember, that last piece that they see, that's what they're going to remember. So when you're ready, stand up, and we are going to try doing our entire performance. I want you to make it larger than life. It's the last time you're going to do it, so I want you to give it all of your energy and all of your expression. Here we go. We're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Action. And when you're done, your activity, when you come to your ending, you can sit down and then I'll know you're finished. Awesome. And can you all give yourselves a round of applause? A big, 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 big round of applause. That was fantastic work. And all of you know, it's very physical. You'll probably feel tired. You'll probably feel like you need a drink. And you can see that creating character is something that we need to do with our whole body. It's very, very physical. And we have a few minutes left. So if you want to we're just going to do a quick relaxation just to set you up for the rest of the day. If you want to just lie down or sit comfortably in a chair. Just lay back, close your eyes. Sheila's asking everyone to turn their cameras on. So if you could just lay down, close your eyes, get into a nice comfortable spot for relaxation. So the other day when we had our workshop, we did a bit of a meditation. Today we're going to do a relaxation. So not only is it important to meditate and clear your mind and focus your breathing, but it's also important to know how to relax. Sometimes we're tense because we have competition coming up the next day. We might be nervous or anxious about something, and just being able to relax your body is a really great tool that we're going to do. So you're lying down or you're sitting down comfortably. You're just going to take all the muscles in your toes and you're going to squeeze them really, really tight. So squeeze up your toes really tight and release. And again, squeezing your toes really tight and release. We're going to work through all of our muscles in our body. So we're going to squeeze our legs really nice and tight, the muscles in our legs nice and tight. And we're going to release. And once again, muscles of our legs squeezing nice and tight and releasing. We're going to put our hands at our sides and we're going to squeeze our hands into a fist. Feeling all the muscles in our fingers because we had lots of tension in our fingertips today. Squeezing it nice and tight and release. And again, squeezing it nice and tight. And release. Now take your arms, put them at your sides and squeeze all the muscles in your arms nice and tight to your body. And release. And again, nice and tight, all the muscles in your arms right to your sides, pushing them into your sides. And release. You're going to take your shoulders, you're going to squeeze them up to your ears. We carry so much of our tension in our shoulders. So it's really great just taking it. You don't have anyone to help give you a massage, so you can squeeze your shoulders up to your ears and release. And once again, squeezing your shoulders to your ears and release. Now we're going to take our face and we're actually going to squeeze all of the muscles in our face. Believe it or not, the face is one of the #1 places that we carry a lot of tension. So squeezing your face and release. And again, squeezing all the muscles in your face and release. Now I want you to take all of the muscles in your body that we just worked through. So your toes and your legs and your fists and your arms and your shoulders and your face. And you're going to squeeze everything up. Hold it, hold it, hold it, and release. This time, I want you to think about any of the tension that you might be feeling anywhere in your body, any of the stress, any of the exhaustion you might be feeling. And as you're squeezing all of those muscle groups, I want you to imagine that when you release, that you're just letting it all go into the floor. It's like it's melting off you onto the floor. So here we go, squeezing everything up nice and tight. And release. All right, now deep breath in. Just take a nice deep breath in. And let the breath out. And one more deep breath in. And let the breath out. And if we had more time, we'd lie here and relax for a while, but you can all, in your own space, in your own time, sit up and continue with the rest of your day. Hopefully you've had a wonderful session. I really enjoyed working with all of you.
Awesome.
I wish you all the best this year for sure.
Thank you, Karen, so much. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your month up at the cottage.
Definitely will.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Take care. Good luck with the rest of the camp.
Thank you.
Bye.